Hello everybody, Accureye here, and welcome to my new series of Dark Souls on 101 for new players and players who are just looking to get their Dark Souls playing to the next level and become a veteran or even challenge runner. So in this series I will be going over everything I can, including talking about builds as well as talking about pairing, what weapons are best or at least could make you feel comfortable, and also just in general the mechanics behind making you a better player, as well as I'll show you my tips to beating bosses, and of course the little things like, you know, pairing, like I said before, and each weapon. I will go over the stats and tell you to help you make you comfortable in being the best Dark Souls players you can be. For this first video, I am going to be talking about builds, and of course builds are something that some people, especially if you're a new player, can struggle with. So with that being said, let us go ahead and get started. This will be a two-part video. So this first video I will just be talking about builds and in general, you know, the starting stats, and then in part two I will be making it a you know, I will be making it built around you know, showing you the final stats as well as my final armor. So with that being said, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. You know, because as I said, this is going to be part one of two talking about builds. I will be doing a separate video, which I'm in the works of, for you know, making for weapons and pairing, and I also will be doing a separate video talking about my tips to beat every boss. If you haven't already checked out my Index Grunder tips, feel free to check them out. I have already made a video on Index Grunder, so I will be moving on to the next boss in the game. And yeah, with that all being said and done, let's go ahead and get straight into the builds video, shall we? Alright, so here we are. Here we are in the character creation screen. I will be showing you how to create a character, as well as I will be explaining a little bit of everything you need to know about character creation, as yeah, it can get a little confusing sometimes. So character creation, of course, can be a little bit confusing. As you can see, I've already started giving you a little bit of a hint and heads up. This is going to be the strength character I'm showing as an example. Of course, each one of my characters will start from the same build. As you can see, you know, the Knight class is probably by far the easiest class you can start with. It is kind of a handicap class, if you will. In fact, any class you choose other than the Deprived are pretty much a handicap class, to give you a little bit of a heads up and a little bit of a, you know, something just to help you, you know, with the video or with the game, as they all start with great armor, some little things. I'll also be talking about the burial gifts, and yeah, other things like that. So with that being said, I mean, you know, every class that you see and every class I show you will be a bit of a handicap class. They're not exactly a, you know, for you to build your own or for you to make the greatest character ever. Each one of these classes are more or less just a, like, a simple handicap, or a simple little, like, okay, hey, we're Dark Souls, we're going to give you a little bit of a clutch that you can use to, you know, help yourself out with. So, yeah, like I said, I will be also talking about the burial gifts, which are completely optional. You don't need a burial gift, but, I mean, it's nice to have. It's really nice to have, so technically, yeah, it's all depending on what you want to do. But, yeah, with that being said, I mean, you know, it is great to have these burial gifts and stuff, but, yeah, like I said, the classes are also one of the main things that, you know, like I said, are a little bit of a handicap. And, yeah, I'm soon going to be, probably showing you exactly where the... Alright, so here we are, talking about each class. I'm going to be showing you, first of all, like I said, each class is a bit of a handicap. As you can see here, this is the Knight class. It is a, It's basically the starting class, and for most beginner players, I would definitely recommend this class from the get-go because, yeah, it is probably one of the best classes going forward for your thing. You also got the warrior, the herald, the thief, the assassin, the specter, the sorcerer, the clerk, and the deprived. Like I said, I will be starting each class as the deprived. Because, of course, deprived are a blank slate. They're a blank canvas. And for those of you who really want the full experience of Dark Souls, I definitely would recommend the deprived. But the knight is a good class. The warrior is more of a strength build class. It's more for if you want a head start in a strength build. Of course, you got the thief and the assassin. They're both dexterity-based classes. You got the mage, which is a sorcerer class. And then the knight is good for balanced class. The knight is a very good balanced class. Then I definitely would start with a knight if you're a brand new player and just getting started. By the way, of course, if you haven't already figured it out, this is built more for new players, not for those of you veterans, but it also should be able to help those of you who are leveling up or wanting to level up. Then you got the warrior. Like I said, the knight is a balanced class. The warrior is more for strength. The herald is good for if you want to be a paladin or you want to start with a paladin type build. Because they'll start with heavy armor, a good weapon like a spear, and then that shield. The thief is good for a dexterity-based class player. So if you are trying to play as a thief, it's more good for dexterity and whatnot. I would definitely recommend it. Same goes with the assassin. I mean, the assassin is also good for dexterity-based players. And, they have a good spell called Spook, which allows you to sneak up on anybody and get a crit hit, which is always lovely in this game. I mean, don't ever deny crit hits. If you could get a backstab, they will do the most damage. And, but, of course, not everyone's going to look for that. Sorcerer, great mage class, and for those of you who are starting as a mage, Pyromancer, same thing. They're the balanced of the mage classes. The clerk is more on the faith side or miracle side of things. The sorcerer is more on the magic side. And, of course, the Pyromancer is the balanced class. And then you got the regular clerk, which, again, another sorcerer-based class. Great class to start with. Definitely would recommend it as a, if you're looking to do miracle builds. But yeah, with that being said, I am starting as the deprived because the deprived class is, like I said, one of the best classes in the game. You'll almost always like using the deprived class because, like I've said before, it's a blank canvas, it's a great slate, and yeah. But let's talk about the burial gifts. The burial gifts are optional. You don't exactly need them, but they are nice to have, especially when you're playing the game and you want to be good at challenge running or whatever and getting a good start on challenge run. So, of course, you don't have to start with burial gift, but if you're a new player and you really want to get a good start with the life ring. It gives you a better maximum HP, which is awesome. It's absolutely lovely. I would recommend it if you haven't already checked it out. Life ring, well, for new players is awesome. It's great. It's what I would use if you are doing that. The divine blessing, it heals all your HP, and it also cures any ailments. The hidden blessing gives you full mana, and for those of you who are a mage type and you want to not have to worry about it, I would use the hidden blessing. The black firebomb is a great little firebomb to start with. It's one of my starting weapons, and for many reasons, when I go into the hints video and also the shortcuts and stuff that you can get early on and whatnot, I will show you why the black firebomb is useful. The fire gem, which of course allows you to make a fire weapon early on. Personally, I've never found any use for the fire gem, so I wouldn't recommend getting it, but yeah. If you want to. There's the Summonous Souls, which the souls are great for, those of you who want to get a little bit of a head start on your build and get a little extra souls. I would recommend having that on hand. You then got the rustic gold coin, which again allows you to increase your discovery and get more items, rare items quickly. You got the cracked red eye orb, which is good for those of you who are PvP players and want to get immediately into the PvP, because let's face it, the cracked red eye orb definitely is the way to go if you're looking for that. And then of course you got the young white branch, which is good for those of you who want to avoid PvP or just blend in with the environment. The young white branch will allow you to do that. So yeah, it's all lovely items and stuff, and definitely a bit I would recommend. And with that being said, I mean, you know, that's all you really need to know. I'm going to be, like I said, my base start will be always with the deprived, so I will show you all my builds and stuff and everything you need to know about building and, you know, the starting stats. Like I said, this is going to be a two-parter, so part one is just to show you the starting stats and my recommendations for items that you should get, and part two will be the final armor and stats that you should have, as well as the spells I love using for my mage build, or of course just the things I'm comfortable with. But with that all being said, let's get straight into the build, shall we? Alright, so here we are with my strength build. We are in the Firelink Shrine, which is the starting area for all your, you know, Dark Souls playthroughs. So this is where you're going to be for every starting playthrough, you know. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show you the builds, my strength build. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go into the strength build. As it is, this is completely spoiler free. I will only show you a few things like the bosses, but let's go ahead and talk about the strength builds and stuff. So, of course, you know, this is, like I said, my blank canvas. There's nothing on it, but usually what I like to do for strength builds is I like to put a lot into Vigor, a good bit into endurance, a good bit into vitality, a little bit into dexterity, and a lot of strength. Luck, faith, and intelligence are completely optional. You do not need them at all. They are, like I've said, completely optional. So with that being said, I mean, you know, you don't have to worry about that. So what I'll usually do is I'll put one in Vigor, usually at the start, one in vitality, one in endurance, and then one into dexterity, and a couple into strength, and sometimes a couple into vitality. Sometimes I do put a couple of extra into vitality, but usually, like I said, that's my starting build for any strength build. Everyone is to start with a little bit of vitality, or a good bit of vitality, a good bit of strength, one into dexterity, one into endurance, one into and one into of course, you know, into vitality, or you know, and usually that's how I go about it. As you can see, I put a couple into vitality, a couple into endurance, a couple into strength, a lot into strength, and a lot into vitality. But for the most part, you know, that is pretty much the build as you see it. That's how I start my builds every time. And you know, with that all being said, I mean, let's go ahead and talk about also the starting items that I like to get for of course, you know, Dark Soul, or for of course a strength build. So, you know, those are all my stats as you saw them. That's how I usually start my strength build every time. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and let me show you the items I usually will buy for any starting build. Now, of course, as you can see, I popped a few souls here to make sure I could show you what I could buy. But yeah, let's go ahead and here, as you can see, this is the old lady, the handmaiden who sells you stuff. I've already got a few of the items, but usually, like, I will buy a large shield or a very heavy-duty shield, like the large shield, and I will buy all the chain armor when it comes to strength builds. When it comes to strength builds, I buy all the chain armor or all the starting armor that the handmaiden sells, except for the helmet. Mostly, I don't like wearing helmets, so I never buy the helmet, but you could buy the helmet. It's recommended if you really are trying to go all-out strength build. But like I said, like it is, strength builds are all about heavy armor, heavy weapons, and just blasting out all-out damage.
Be sure to bring more.
So yeah, with that being said, let us go ahead and move on to the the balance / dexterity build. I decided to cop out and show you both the balance and dexterity build in one part because I felt that it would be easier than trying to do both in, you know, in two different parts. And then I'll of course show you the mage build and we'll recap. Alright, so here we are, everyone. Alright, here we are as my balance build. Well, this is my balance build, but like I said earlier, I'm going to cop out and show you both my starting dexterity stats as well as my the balance stats because I felt that it would be easier to make it in all in one instead of trying to you know, put it in two separate parts. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So you know, and like I said, if you don't like the cop out, I do apologize, but you know, as I said, I felt that it was easier to do it this way. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So when it comes to dexterity build, I mean, let's face it, you're going to be focused mostly on light armor and being as speedy as possible. So of course, with that being said, you're going to be mostly focusing on a little bit of vitality, everyone, a little bit, and mostly dexterity, a little bit of a lot of endurance, a good bit of vigor, and mostly dexterity, and a tiny little bit of strength. Again, as with dexterity, as with a strength build, intelligence, faith, luck, and attunement are all optional. You do not need it at all. I mean, you could go with that if you want, but it's not necessary. So, you know, with that all being said, I mean, you know, hopefully that helps you out, with starting out your dexterity build. And like I've said, with dexterity builds, it's all about light armor. Armor. It doesn't matter what type of armor, you know, as long as it's light and as long as it keeps you all speedy and whatnot, you know, like I said, you're good. Either way. So, you know, balance builds, of course, and then, yeah, here I'm just showing you what you should build by. It should be light armor. I mean, you're not going to be wearing much as a dexterity build. So, yeah, you know, it's all about light armor. But with that being said, let's go ahead and show you the true build, which of course is the balance build. And I'm sure for many of you, that is the build you are wondering about. So let me go ahead and show you what balance builds are all about. And with a balance build, I mean, your armor is pretty much all about whatever you feel like. You could be a light armor balance build. You could be a heavy armor balance build. I mean, balance builds are pretty much up to your imagination. There is no, you know, there's no, of course, difference or something that is right with a balance build. I mean, it's all up to you and what you feel comfortable with. You could be a light armor balance build. You could be a heavy armor balance build. You could be a medium armor balance build. It doesn't matter. But with a balance build, it's all about being balanced. It's all about keeping things, pretty steady. So, you know, I work with a little bit of vigor, a good bit of vigor, a little bit of endurance, a little bit of vitality, and I usually try to keep strength and dexterity, you know, equal. And with that being said, I mean, you know, that's how I do a vitality build or a balance build. Everyone. Again, as with before, you know, it doesn't matter how you build it. It's just a matter of, you know, keeping it balanced. And what armor, what weapons you use, doesn't matter. You know, don't ever think too hard about that with a balanced build, because it is up to you how you want to make it. As long as you keep it kind of balanced and semi-equal, the rest doesn't matter. You could use any weapon that scales balanced, as long as the weapons scale balanced and whatnot. And I will talk about weapons later on. You're good. You're pretty much good. Balanced builds are all about, you know, it's a kind of a blank slate in many ways. It's just a testing slate. It's kind of a testing slate, if you will. So I mean, don't think too much about balanced builds. You know, when it comes to balanced builds, I mean, the armor, it could be whatever you want. It could be heavy armor, it can be medium armor, like I said. But anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and go straight into the mage build, and I will show you everything you need to know about being a mage, and then we'll go ahead and recap, and I will close out this video. So yeah, with that being said, let us go ahead and go into the mage build, and I'll talk about all that on the mage build. Alright, so here we are with the mage build. So we're back at the Firelink Shrine as usual, and we're going to be talking about the mage build. So mage builds are different. They're not going to be wearing much armor at all. They are pretty much going to be wearing very, very minimal armor. Heck, they may not even be wearing much armor, because most mages are just going to be wearing robes. But this is a mage that I've started with on stream and in Twitch, and I just thought this would be the easiest way to show you the mage build as it's getting built. Usually, as I'm showing you here, mages are all about attunement or magic. I mean, you're almost never going to see a close range mage, because let's face it, you're not going to rely on your weapons. Mages do not rely on weapons at all. I mean, they'll have a knife or some kind of dagger just as a bit of protection. But usually, mages will never ever have worries or be concerned about weapons or whatnot, because, I mean, you're going to be pretty much the getaway character. You're going to be the character that pretty much is, no matter what, going to be in the back lines. You're going to be creating your damage and stuff from afar. You're almost never going to see close range combat. So that's why, as you can see, mages are all about a little bit of vigor, mostly attunement, endurance, a little bit of vitality. You may not have to worry too much about vitality. A little bit of dexterity, a little bit of strength, and a fair amount of intelligence. Intelligence is the key for any mage. No matter what happens, intelligence is completely the key for any mage. I would recommend intelligence no matter what as a mage. And, yeah, that's pretty much all you have to do for being a mage. As I've said, mages, you do not have to worry too much about any kind of, you know, armor, weapons, or whatnot, you know, because you're mostly going to be, focusing on your magic. Your spells are your power. They are your sole purpose, and they are pretty much what, give you, your overall power, you know, But with that being said, let's go ahead and recap, you know, recap everything going on and everything you need to know, as this is going to be as spoiler-free as possible, because, as I've said before, I'm trying to make sure that this is as spoilers-free as possible. It's just the tips and a little bit of hints and tricks and things that you may have missed. This will be, like I said, a two-part series, so of course, this is part 1 of 2 going forward, and we are going to be moving on with, yeah, the next, in part 2, I will be showing you the final stats for each one of my builds, including a dexterity build, which I will be working hard on to get done. But yeah, as far as it is, let's just recap everything you need to know about mages and whatnot. So, to recap, of course, strength builds, all about strength. They're all about the front lines and being part of the front line attack. They do the most damage, they'll probably have the most health. Balance builds are, of course, all about balance. They're kind of the tester slate between dexterity and strength build. You know, and everything is up to you how you want to decide what to do with that. Of course, then you got the the old dexterity builds, which are all about light armor and being as fast as possible. They are kind of the crit attack people. They are the sneaky people. They are focusing mostly on the sneaky side of things. And then, of course, you got the mages and clerks, which are, of course, the backlines. Clerks, of course, are going to be a healer type. Mages are more of the frontline attacker type. Pyromancers, of course, are a balanced type of magic users. They have a good sense of attacks and also defense. And yeah, with that all being said, thank you everyone for watching this video. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit that like button, get subscribed onto my YouTube channel, hit the bell notification so you know exactly when I'm going to be dropping the next video, which I am working hard on, and I will be trying to release videos 7 days a week on Twitch, and I will be also streaming on Twitch 3 days a week. If you don't know what my Twitch channel is, it's www.twitch.tv/Accureye. And yeah, with that being said, thank you everyone for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, you know what to do. If you disliked it, well, you know what it is. But with that all being said, thank you everyone for joining me. Hopefully I will see you on the next video. I'm working hard to get the next 7 days of videos up. And yeah, with that all being said, I will see you all on the next one. So until the next one, this is Accureye signing out, and farewell, everyone.